Welcome to the channel. Today, we explore one of the most debated and unique features of Dutch society, the Netherlands' drug policy, especially around coffee shops and cannabis legalization. We'll look at its origins, legal structure, harm reduction goals, controversies, recent reforms, and what the future might hold. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you never miss a deep dive into Dutch culture. In the Netherlands, technically, all drugs are illegal under the Opium Act. But since the late 20th century, a tolerance policy called gedoogbeleid has allowed recreational use of soft drugs, like cannabis, under strict conditions. The logic: a completely drug-free society is unrealistic, so better to control and minimize harm rather than rigidly prohibit. Dutch law separates drugs into two categories. List I includes hard drugs like heroin, cocaine, and ecstasy. List 2 includes soft drugs, such as cannabis and certain sedatives. Hard drugs remain strictly illegal, while soft drugs can be tolerated under certain circumstances. In the 1970s, Amsterdam responded to rising youth cannabis use with a bold move, opening licensed coffee shops where small quantities of cannabis could be sold for personal use, despite being technically illegal. These shops had to follow strict rules: no alcohol, no hard drugs, no advertising, no sales to minors, no more than 5 grams per person per day, and a maximum 500-gram stock limit. The 1976 Opium Act formally legalized small-scale possession and laid the groundwork for separating soft and hard drug markets. By the late 1990s, research showed that cannabis use in the Netherlands was not significantly higher than in countries with stricter laws. Importantly, the feared gateway effect toward hard drugs didn't materialize. Coffee shops are technically illegal, but tolerated if they obey specific policies. Local municipalities decide how many coffee shops to allow, and some impose extra rules like a residents-only policy. Since 2012, only Dutch residents can legally purchase cannabis in certain regions, although cities like Amsterdam often opt out of this restriction. Here's the paradox: you can legally buy cannabis at a coffee shop, but its production remains illegal. This contradiction has fueled an underground supply chain dominated by unregulated growers and criminal networks. Take Mellow Yellow, Amsterdam's oldest coffee shop, which opened in 1972. It was closed in 2017 under new school zone zoning rules. Another example, Checkpoint in Terneuzen was shut down for having enormous cannabis stockpiles, highlighting the strange legal mismatch between selling and supply. Dutch drug policy is built around harm reduction. Rather than punishment, the focus is on public health. Drug users, especially of hard drugs, are seen as people who need care, not prison. Programs like needle exchange, methadone distribution, and addiction counseling are widely available and integrated into healthcare. Cannabis use among Dutch youth remained stable after legalization and is now comparable to rates in Germany, France, or the UK. However, the Netherlands has become a center for synthetic drug production, particularly MDMA and amphetamines, prompting tighter European cooperation. In 2023, the Netherlands launched a pilot program to legalize cannabis cultivation in 10 municipalities. Known as the closed-chain experiment, the goal is to replace illegal backdoor growers with licensed producers, ensuring quality, reducing criminal activity, and restoring credibility to the entire system. Amsterdam has also been tightening its policies. Dozens of coffee shops have closed, especially near schools. In 2023, the city banned cannabis smoking in De Wallen, the red light district, in response to complaints from residents and businesses. The aim is to reduce public nuisance and discourage mass tourism focused solely on drugs and sex. Despite these efforts, public debate continues. Should cannabis be fully legalized, from seed to sale, or should the state maintain partial control? Critics argue the current system is outdated and full of contradictions. Supporters believe the Netherlands' cautious, pragmatic approach has prevented bigger problems seen in more punitive countries. Globally, the Dutch model has influenced cannabis policy reform. Countries like Canada, Uruguay, and several U.S. states have legalized cannabis outright, sometimes pointing to the Dutch experience as proof that decriminalization doesn't lead to chaos. But Dutch experts warn, the coffee shop system was never meant to promote cannabis use. It was a strategy to manage it. Legal doesn't mean encouraged. The key was always harm reduction. Looking forward, the success of the closed-chain experiment will likely shape the next phase of cannabis law. If it works, the Netherlands could become the first EU country to fully legalize and regulate every stage of cannabis production and sale. Future changes may include stricter limits on THC levels, more robust age checks, stronger packaging and warning labels, and possibly a nationwide ban on tourist access to cannabis shops. It's all part of a broader effort to balance health, safety, and freedom. Let's recap. The Netherlands pioneered a bold approach to drugs in the 1970s, separating soft from hard drugs, decriminalizing cannabis possession, and allowing licensed coffee shops under strict rules. The results? Cannabis use didn't explode. Addiction rates stayed low, and many Dutch citizens support a policy that treats drug users with care and respect. But contradictions remain. The sale is tolerated. The supply is illegal. That's changing slowly, through pilot projects, legislation, and shifting attitudes. Dutch drug policy is not perfect, but it's honest. It says, let's deal with reality, not fantasy. That honesty has made the Netherlands a global example of pragmatic reform. Thanks for exploring Dutch drug policy with me. If you found this insightful, please like, subscribe, and share it with someone who's curious about how cannabis laws actually work. And now I want to hear from you. Do you think cannabis production should be legalized in your country? Could the Dutch model work where you live? Let's talk in the comments.